When people think someone is useless and throw them away, fate may raise them higher than anyone can imagine. This is the story of a lame horse that was abandoned by its owner because it could no longer work. But a poor man cared for the horse with kindness, never knowing that the horse carried a great secret in its destiny. Long ago, near a busy trading city, there lived a rich and cruel merchant named Qasim ibn Waqar. He owned hundreds of horses, camels, and mules that carried goods day and night. Qasim always said, "If an animal works, feed it. If it becomes weak or old, throw it away." Among all his horses was a beautiful white horse named Tufan. Tufan was strong, fast, and loyal. He carried the heaviest loads and ran like the wind. One day, while traveling on a mountain road, Tufan slipped and fell into a deep valley. He survived, but one of his back legs broke badly. When the injured horse was brought back, Qasim looked at him with disgust and said, "He is lame now. He is useless to me. Throw him outside the city and leave him in the desert. I will not waste food on him." The servants obeyed. They left Tufan in a lonely desert place far from the city. The horse that once ate the best food now suffered from hunger and thirst. Blood flowed from his wounded leg while crows pecked at his injury. At that moment, a poor woodcutter named Hasan passed by. Hasan was around 50 years old. He was poor, but he had a kind heart. Every day he cut wood to feed his family. When he saw the injured horse, his heart filled with sadness. "Oh God," he said, "how cruel must the owner be to leave such a beautiful animal here to die?" Hasan only had a piece of bread and a little water. He shared both with the horse. Tufan looked at him with grateful eyes. Hasan could not leave him behind. He removed his turban and wrapped it around the horse's wound, then slowly helped the horse walk back to his small mud house. When Hasan's wife Fatima saw the horse, she cried, "Hasan, we barely have enough food for ourselves. How will we feed such a large animal?" Hasan smiled gently and replied, "God provides for everyone. We cannot leave him to die alone." Hasan built a small shelter for Tufan and cared for him day and night. Sometimes Hasan stayed hungry just to buy medicine and food for the horse. Slowly, Fatima also became attached to Tufan. Months passed, and the horse became stronger again, although he still walked with a slight limp. One stormy day, Hasan was returning from the forest with wood loaded on Tufan's back. Heavy rain fell everywhere. To return home, they had to cross an old wooden bridge over a river. But because of the storm, the bridge suddenly broke apart. Hasan and Tufan fell into the rushing water. Hasan could not swim. He began drowning and cried for help. Tufan managed to reach the shore safely. He could have escaped alone, but when he heard Hasan screaming, he stopped. Without thinking of his own safety, Tufan jumped back into the water. He grabbed Hasan's shirt with his teeth and pulled him toward the shore with all his strength. Finally, Hasan was saved. When Hasan woke up, he saw Tufan standing beside him, shaking from cold and exhaustion. Tears filled Hasan's eyes. "My friend," he whispered, hugging the horse, "today you repaid my kindness. You are not an animal. You are my brother." After that accident, Tufan's injured leg became painful again. He could barely walk. Hasan became very sad because he had no money for medicine. One day, while walking through the city market, Hasan heard a royal announcement. The king's horse was very sick. The royal doctors said that only a rare blue herb from Mount Kaf could save it. Whoever brought the herb would receive a great reward. Hasan thought, "This may be a chance from God. If I get the reward, I can heal Tufan." But he was poor and weak, while others had strong horses and weapons. He returned home feeling hopeless. That night, Tufan suddenly began hitting the ground with his injured leg, as if trying to show Hasan something. Hasan started digging in that spot. Soon he found an old iron box buried underground. Inside the box was not gold or silver. Instead, there was a glowing blue horseshoe covered with strange ancient symbols and a mysterious map. Hasan could not read, but he felt this was something magical. At that moment, there was a knock at the door. When Hasan opened it, he saw Qasim ibn Waqar standing there with armed guards. Qasim looked at Tufan and laughed cruelly. But suddenly, the blue horseshoe began to glow brightly. Lines of blue light appeared on it, showing a path through the mountains. Hasan realized the horseshoe was leading him toward Mount Kaf. That night, Hasan secretly entered Qasim's stable to rescue Tufan. He carefully placed the glowing blue horseshoe onto Tufan's injured hoof. The moment the final nail was fixed, something unbelievable happened. Blue light surrounded Tufan's body. His bones healed instantly. Power returned to his body like lightning. Tufan let out a loud cry that shook the stable. The guards woke up shouting, "Thief, stop them!" Hasan jumped onto Tufan's back. "Run, Tufan!" Tufan leaped high into the air, broke through the stable gate, and escaped into the night. Qasim watched in shock as blue sparks flew from the horse's hooves. Soon, men on horses chased them through forests and mountains. On the way, they entered a dangerous red forest filled with wild beasts. Suddenly, a huge lion appeared in front of them. Hasan froze in fear. But Tufan hit the ground with his glowing hoof, sending blue sparks everywhere. When the lion attacked, Tufan kicked it so powerfully that the beast flew backward and ran away in terror. Finally, Hasan and Tufan reached Mount Kaf and found the glowing blue herb. Hasan cried with joy, "We did it, my friend!" But Qasim still refused to give up. He placed guards at the city gates to catch Hasan. Using a secret underground path, Hasan entered the royal palace and brought the blue herb to the king. The royal doctors gave the herb to the king's sick horse. Within moments, the horse recovered completely. The king stood in amazement. "A miracle!" he shouted. "Ask for anything you want." But Hasan bowed respectfully and said, "My king, I do not want riches. I only want my friend Tufan to receive care and respect." The king was deeply moved by Hasan's kindness. At that moment, Qasim arrived and falsely claimed, "That horse belongs to me. Hasan stole him." Qasim even showed fake papers to prove ownership. The king became confused. Finally, the king announced a test. The true owner, he declared, will be the one the horse chooses. The next morning, a huge crowd gathered in the royal square. First, Qasim called the horse, "Come here, Tufan!" But Tufan looked at him angrily and refused to move. When Qasim tried to approach, Tufan kicked him hard and stood protectively in front of Hasan. Everyone understood the truth. The horse belonged to the man who loved him. Qasim fell to the ground in shame. But suddenly, terrifying lion roars echoed through the forest nearby. 3 huge lions appeared, attracted by the smell of blood. Qasim's men ran away, leaving him alone. The lions surrounded him. Terrified, Qasim screamed, "Hasan, save me!" Even though Hasan was injured, he felt pity for him. He looked at Tufan and said, "Save him." Tufan bravely stood between Qasim and the lions. Blue sparks burst from his glowing hoof, frightening the lions away. Qasim fell to his knees crying. "Forgive me," he said. "I was cruel and heartless." Hasan replied softly, "God forgives those who truly change." From that day on, Qasim became a different man. He spent the rest of his life helping animals instead of hurting them. Hasan used the king's reward to build wells, mosques, and homes for poor people. Years later, when Tufan became old and weak, he rested his head in Hasan's lap and quietly closed his eyes forever. Hasan cried deeply and buried him beside his home. On the grave, he wrote, "Here lies the friend who taught me the true meaning of loyalty." But the story did not end there. Years later, strange things began happening again. One cold night, Hasan heard horse footsteps outside his house. When he opened the door, he saw a soft blue light glowing near Tufan's grave. The old blue horseshoe had started shining once more. Suddenly, a white shadow appeared in the mist. It was Tufan, not as a normal horse, but as a glowing spirit made of blue light. At the same moment, Hasan learned that a dark rider was attacking nearby villages. The rider wore black clothes and rode a giant black horse. People believed he was cursed by darkness. Hasan climbed onto Tufan's glowing back one final time. Together, they rode towards the dangerous mountains. The dark rider laughed when he saw them. "At last," he said, "the keeper of the blue horseshoe has come." The rider revealed his name was Zahir. Long ago, he had searched for the blue horseshoe's power, but was rejected. Filled with anger, he turned to dark magic instead. "That horse should have been mine," he shouted. A terrible battle began between blue light and dark fire. Tufan's glowing hooves shook the earth, while Zahir's black horse spread smoke and darkness everywhere. Lightning flashed across the sky. Hasan held the blue horseshoe tightly and prayed. Suddenly, the horseshoe released a beam of blue light into the heavens. The darkness around Zahir began disappearing. "No!" Zahir screamed. "Impossible!" With one final powerful leap, Tufan struck the black horse and knocked Zahir to the ground. His dark sword shattered into pieces. The curse was broken. As Zahir lay weak and defeated, Hasan said gently, "True strength does not come from hatred. It comes from kindness, loyalty, and mercy." Tears filled Zahir's eyes with regret. Moments later, his dark form disappeared into the wind. The villages were finally safe. Under the moonlight, Tufan slowly began turning into glowing blue stars. Hasan understood that this was the final goodbye. With tears running down his face, he whispered, "You were never just a horse. You were a blessing from God." Tufan lowered his head one last time. Then he disappeared forever into the blue light of the sky. After that night, the blue horseshoe lost its magic and became silent forever. But even today, people in the mountains still say, whenever someone protects the weak, stands against zulm, and shows true loyalty, somewhere in the distance, the cry of a white horse can still be heard.